Hey guys and girls, it's Dave from Destination Off-Road. Now I've had to film this because the intro that we did at Hill End was a bit screwy because the wind was blowing a gale. Now, this is the around the campsite talk, so it's a different review. Usually a review you'd have like me in front of the camera and with the product. This is Ryan and I, bare bones, sitting by our campsite, just talking about his camp setup, his swag, his stretcher, and his sleep system. It is a King's product, and we do compare it a little bit to my crash pad, but you'll be pleasantly surprised what we have to say. Hit the like button, comment, and actually let us know what you think of the swags, what your swag you are using, and whether you'd actually like to improve on what you have. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy. Bye. So, see, at the moment, Ryan's cleaning up his swag, so we can clean it up because he's been camping in it for a while. So yeah, we'll get to the questions, the questions that everybody wants to know. So just give him a second so he can clean up a few things, and we'll show you. Alright, yeah. So I'm hoping you can hear it because it's a little bit breezy, but yeah, Ryan and I were talking about it. What was it, the other day?
Yeah.
And we realised, well, Ryan realised how long he'd had his swag stretcher and his sleeping bag, and the issues that I've had with my one, to comparing it, I always said that it was different to Ryan's one. And Ryan actually got his before me, and then because I saw what he had, I thought, oh yeah, no, this is really good. So I went from the Eclipse to the Single Deluxe, but then I had issues where you'll find out with Ryan, he doesn't have those issues. So yeah, so ask the questions, and we're going to be using the GoPro because I don't know, I don't like holding that big camera for very long. So we'll go to Ryan. Yeah. So Ryan, how old is this swag stretcher and the sleeping bag that's inside it?
So I'd probably say early 2019. I bought the swag and then as an impulse buy I thought, oh, I've seen the stretcher before, I'll get one of those. So I bought that, and I didn't have the sleeping bag yet.
Yep.
I sort of did a couple of camping trips, and then I thought, yep, I'll buy the sleeping bag too because it was cold.
Did you have that at Island Ford when we had the ice on the cars?
Yes.
The sleeping bag?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was that biggest one,
Yeah.
because we had like massively low temperatures.
So it's supposed to be 0 to 5 degree sleeping bag, but
Yeah.
I've been in sub-zero stuff and it's been warm as, so.
Alright, so from 2019, did you have the swag and the stretcher, and then later on you bought this?
Just about, yeah.
Yeah. Alright, so roughly what was the cost of them?
When I bought them, I always buy them on sale and stuff like that, so it was sort of within reason, and you know, postage maybe a bit more, but it was sort of $100 for the swag, $100 for the sleeping bag, and $100 for the stretcher.
Yeah. So you're talking about a $300 setup, or a little bit over depending on delivery. Now, would love to do that comparison to that setup, but it's unfair. As everybody said in the old comment, in the old video I made, they have said there's going to be a massive difference because of the price difference, and we see it, and yes, we know, and we were debating about it, but once you put a swag on a stretcher, a lot of the key features that come in more expensive swags are null and void, because the stretcher is the comfort. The main selling point for most swags at a higher end price are the 75 to 100 mil mattresses, which are a lot softer, but then they have all these little add-ons which push up the price as well. So to be honest, the Kings is a bargain swag that has no frills, is just built and designed to do its thing. Now, because you've got the Deluxe, you've got the Kings double.
Yeah, so it was about when they first came out, sort of thing. They were starting to push them out. You know, they were there, but I got that. I seen it, and I thought, well, it's basically half the width of a Big Daddy. So
Yeah.
and I was the only one sleeping in it, rather than having a whole big massive swag to put on my roof all the time.
Especially when we had it on the floor, because we both have the doubles.
Yeah.
And during winter when you're camping, you just get out of bed, and we used to like sleep overnight, have our setups, pack up, and then would move on for like tour on and things like that. Just one person doing up that double swag can be pretty crap, especially when you're hungover
and on the wet ground.
Yeah, on the wet ground.
Roll it up in the dirt. And
Yeah.
it sticks to it. And,
So what are the features that you actually like about that swag?
I've never been cold.
Yeah.
I've never been cold inside that swag, ever.
Yep.
It doesn't matter where I've camped. So it does get a bit warm in summer if it's in the sun, but you just open both sides and the thing's fine.
Yeah. And as you notice, like we always have our swags underneath our awnings, and some people will go, yeah, you can have your swag out, and both of us have the swags underneath the awning because we had torrential rain. But the main difference I like sleeping under an awning is because when you wake up in the morning and you need to pack up, you're not rolling up a wet swag on the wet floor sort of thing. And because some of the stretches are thinner or longer or wider, the stretcher will get saturated, and it's just our personal preference. We don't want to be rolling up wet things and putting them in the cars and then getting them back out still wet, or when we get home we have to get them out and air them out and dry them to make sure we don't get mold. So what things, like, because I got a few things that you didn't get, what you were just mentioning, what things didn't you get? And because you've seen my swag, what do you reckon the differences were? So
I found that my mattress fitted the whole perimeter inside the swag.
Yeah.
From all the way to the end, all the way to the sides. And not a problem where your one was like, it was 100 mil too short, and it was at 50 mil too skinny, like in the width, and sitting them on the ground rolled up next to each other, they look different.
Yeah. The main thing too that caught us out was Ryan's mattress is black.
Yeah.
And it looks a little thicker, where my one's actually brown and a little thinner, and we, as we just said, a little bit shorter and on length and width. So
yeah, but as a package it came unopened, still in its box, all wrapped up, you know, and it explodes when you cut it all open and you got everything there. But it didn't come with a bag of pegs or any guy ropes.
Yeah, so you can see there we'll get closer, but as you can see he's using ratchet straps to keep it down, because we've got the wind and everything like that. We needed these, and the rain, because the rain was coming sideways, we needed to push those side walls out to prevent the water from going on the net, on the fly screen.
Yeah, because I don't normally tie them down like that. They're usually just flapping in the wind usually. But
yeah, but we're on top of a hill, as you can see all the campers down there, and behind us we have a fence and a property, so we're copping all the wind, so we just wanted to have everything tied down.
But yeah, even after all of this time, you know, because I sort of look after it, I don't wash it or anything like that. I just, you know, if I've been out dirty somewhere, I wipe it down with a dry rag. But
did you season it?
I seasoned it probably 5 trips in. I had it out one day to air it out, and it was a really hot day, and I thought, I'll hose it down. And
have you had the water inside the swag?
I've had maybe a tiny little bit, just in a corner or something like that, but it's never actually rained.
Yeah, and as when we're watching, because we had so much rain, it was coming through the sidewalls and the gazebo, and it was hitting both swags, and we were watching them both. The waters were just beating off it, so they weren't actually getting wet or anything like that. Every time the water hit the swags, it just beat it off. It never penetrated, so that was awesome.
So yeah, all the zippers, all the clips, all the, you know, the poles, everything like that, never failed. As I said, I'd sort of look after it a little bit, but I'll always make sure I camp somewhere where I can roll it up dry, and it never has to come out of the bag when I get back home.
Yep. Have you had any of the poles snap?
Nothing.
Not like me?
Nah, nothing as it stands. Everything goes back in it and gets rolled up in it and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
There's no, I suppose, you know, if you dent one or something, because they're aluminium, if you dent one or something, like, yeah, it's gonna kink and it's gonna break. And
that's like when I had, I think it was on my one, somebody was borrowing the swag and it got a little bit of a kink, so it was really hard to put one in.
yeah.
But for all the people that say that Kings are really bad at customer service, I actually messaged them on Instagram, and then I actually went through their store and emailed them, and they actually called me and actually said, what happened, how's it going? And then they actually sent them out, and because mine was an older version, they said the poles might not work, but they sent out 2 sets anyway for me. So customer service wise, they're actually really good. That was the one thing I love about the Kings products and Adventure Kings. I've never had a problem with their customer service. I've always been able to fix a problem and things like that, resolve issues with products that shouldn't be breaking, but they do break. Their customer service has always been good for us.
So yeah, like, you know, that's a more than 5-year-old King's awning above,
the
sidewall above it. You know, it's reaching the end of its life now, but it's been on every camping trip.
Exactly. I think that's what these 2 awning walls that we're using as roofs, they're the oldest products I think we have.
Yeah. And
so where the Velcro is, the Velcro still work, but you can see the stitching starting because we pull them tight. I pull mine tight, but yeah, the wind will separate it, but even then they don't leak too well. But when they're pushed, it might get through the seams. One thing that we were just talking about, we'll just walk over here, is because we've both got as I said, got the deluxe doubles, or these eyelets. On mine actually came broken. Did yours break on your double?
Yeah, my big daddy's missing one out of the end of it.
Yeah, but neither of us have had any of these break. So that's one thing I can say. Yeah, that's really good.
And it's the same thing. This stay pole in the center. It's got a cam lock in the center of it, and it's been fine.
I remember when I got mine, I didn't even have the cam lock. It was just like you just put it in.
But all these roll up clips and everything are all still intact.
Yeah, they might be a little bit smaller than some of the other brands, but they haven't broken. Actually, they look different than mine.
You can pull them tight as too. Like.
Yeah, I know some people have had them that they fell apart, but we've never had a problem with them.
But yeah, so, all the zippers. All the zippers still work good and everything like that, you know. Nothing's, you know, all the...
And as you can see, like the black mattress is different. And he's got because these have that little space so they can sit there, and they've done their test, they float them on the water.
But yeah, like this thing's thick as, you know, and you can buy the opposite side too, that zips onto it, so it's a double. But yeah, it's
you can turn it into a summer.
Yeah, you can turn it into someone by zipping that flannelette bit out.
It might be like somebody else's brand that has 7 different ways, but you can do the same thing with these ones.
It's plenty of room in there. The sides come in a little bit, but shit, you're only sleeping in there, aren't you?
That I found out, because even my single, it sags in, but if you put them on the floor, they don't.
Yeah,
sag
when it's
as much.
on the ground, they pull tight a lot better. But up in the swag, they, you know.
Yeah, they cave in a little bit, but you're not going to hit them.
It's not touching my face or anything like that. So, but yeah, no, it's no holes.
Yeah, the bugs don't get in.
Yeah, none of the bugs ever get in. Like, you probably would get these little tiny microscopic bugs. I always found that if I turn the torch off before I get in at night time, the bugs don't follow you in.
Yeah. All these are still there, even though they look like offcuts.
Yeah, they're not broken or anything. I've used them a couple of times in summer. They roll the sides up. All still clip on. Everything still clips on.
Alright, what about your stretcher? What do you think of the stretchers?
The rubber feet were a bit of a pain when I bought it. I took it camping and I thought, where's all the rubber feet gone? And then they're all on the ground.
Yep.
They'd all split down the side. Like these, I sort of masking taped them back on with some silicone.
Yeah.
And put them back on, but yeah,
I've lost one of mine on my Kings one.
9 times out of 10 I've got them on the mat anyway, so on this thing. So this thing's probably a few years old too, but I'll just get this home and hose it out.
You don't usually use this because
Yeah.
we were comparing the two, and mine is absolutely grubby. And I've pressure washed mine and everything.
It's good to have this with wet ground or really
Yeah.
dirty ground, because you know, if you wanna get out in the morning, you know, you've got somewhere to stand. But it's not waterproof or anything, but it lets all the dirt through.
Yeah.
All the little.
One thing I had a pet hate for was these.
Oh, the end bits.
The end bits.
After about 12 months of using it, they get easier to put on.
Yeah, they do wear a little bit, but out of all the swags and stretchers I've used, this one has been the most rigid one. But it's just these poles, when you're putting them on, they can be a real pain to get on because the way they sit. Because see how it's got that like that. With mine, the crash pad one sits like vertical instead of horizontal, so it is a little bit easier to put on. And these ones have adjustments. You got a Velcro piece underneath that you can adjust if it loosens up. What else?
Yeah, I think that's about it. It's pretty basic, isn't it?
Yeah, the bags. Do you still use the original bags? Or
I still really use the original nylon non-canvas bag. If you roll that up right, it fits in there every time.
Yeah. With Ryan's one, my son Ryan, he still uses this one, but he has the Darchi winter sleeping bag. So he leaves his winter sleeping bag in, and when he rolled it up, it was too big. So I ended up buying the canvas swag bag, and that actually is huge. But yeah, so that's the normal bag that you get.
That was the original bag that you get. That's not the canvas bag. So.
Yeah, and look how new it still looks.
You
And
know,
we've camped.
There's no holes in the bottom.
We've camped for many years.
You know, this goes because it's so short. 90% of the time, it's in the car. It's not outside in the rain or the dirt or anything like that. So that's why it looks so clean. But
yeah, and then you got a bag like this, and then you got a bag like that, and not just the crash pad, but the King's upgraded bag is huge. It's absolutely huge. You can actually fit the swag.
And your sleeping bag.
A sleeping bag, and if you want to, you can actually put your pillow in it as well. Yeah. So, and the problem that I had with my stretcher was the bag itself. It was very tight to put in. Do you have that problem?
No, I don't. Mine's too loose, too long. But the rip cord on the end of it to pull it tight's useless. But
yeah, because you got the rip cord, I got the zipper on mine.
Mine's got like a handle on my bag for the stretcher's got a handle on it like that.
Yeah.
But I'd never pick it up by it. It feels like it's going to rip. So I just picked the whole thing up as one. It's very heavy, the stretcher.
Yeah, they are.
For what they are, you know, they're probably a good 20 kilos. So
I know
they roll up into a bundle that big, and it fits across your back seat. So
yeah, I've always had an issue with that, and I think I broke one of my zippers on my version.
Yeah. Well, mine doesn't have a zipper.
Yeah.
My bag,
so it's just at the time, depending on what time you buy or when you buy the actual swags, you're going to get different little features. They always upgrade bit by bit. They do listen to people, and they do talk to people and find out what they can improve. But yeah, that's a King's swag or King's setup for single one person. And after 5 years,
yeah, and I've already been in it 5 days. On this trip, so
yeah. And it's still all nice and clean. And as I said, we had torrential rain, but yeah, only little differences. As you said, the guide ropes weren't there, but you can easily just fix that. It fits perfectly on the stretcher. They do have a little bit of overhang, some don't. So yeah, we want to know what you guys think. How long have you guys had your swag? I've had my crash pad swag for how long?
Well, we said the other day, it's at least a couple of years.
Yeah, and I've had mine for a couple of years, and out of those couple of years I've broken, well, I didn't break them, they do break, the side poles, and only recently the sleeping bag has a problem, so I'm gonna have to try and fix that. But yeah, you still like yours?
Yep, still keeps me dry more.
It's probably gonna last another 5 years, and it'll still look the same.
Yeah, and I've got a few of them too. I've got like that Escape one as well, and I've got the Big Daddy, and they're all in the same condition. They all work the same. So.
And I was gonna say, like, people think that I hate on King's products.
Yeah, it's it's what I can afford. So.
I have 7 King's swags at home, the crash pad and a Ranger swag. Like, we have many choices, and but we still use the Kings products. So yeah, if anybody had any questions or comments for Ryan, all right, just shoot them down in the bottom. If you like the video, like it, subscribe if you want to. But yeah, I'll see you later. See ya.
See you, mate.